Okay, you should be able to see the screen now, I hope. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be doing an overview of the animations and also the current level. And on the call I have Ryan and Graham with me. And they're both modelers that have been working on the game, and they'll talk a little bit about some of the assets and also the PBR conversion process and everything as we go through. Anyway, so this is, I'll kind of pan around here. This is the level we've been working on. We haven't shown any of this part of the map yet. If you've been following the game, you've seen other parts of the map. This is a new area that we haven't revealed yet. It's over on the west coast, essentially. It's on the west side of the map. And a couple of disclaimers. We don't have any sounds in the game because of the sound system that got changed in CryEngine. We actually got our first parts of the sound today, and so we'll be getting those in the game here quickly. So the two things that we've been waiting on really are the sounds and the animations. And because of the change in CryEngine, we had to redo all of those. And the animations, I'll go through and show you some of those today. I'll bring up one of the reasons I'm doing this in the editor is so I can actually show you the actual character editor and show you the actual animations inside the character editor. And you can see those. And then the sounds will be coming on board here really fast as well. And those are the two main things. There's a lot of features we'd love to add to the game, but since this is pre-alpha, we'll have basic features in, but we're not going to hold up the release for some of the other features. There really isn't much of a point. We're not going to try to release this obviously in a fully finished version. Anyway, Graham and Ryan, feel free to jump in. I'm just going to kind of walk around on the beach here a little bit and just kind of show them some of the new textures we've been working on. So this is the wet sand texture. You can see here. And how it blends into the dry sand and so on.
Yeah, as you can see, the new wet sand there that Terry just mentioned, Marco, I think was it Marco? He's done a lovely job on the PBR conversion on the wet sand there, blending to the dry sand.
Yeah, that was Matt, but yeah.
Yeah, oh, it is Matt.
Yep.
Matt's another one of the 3D modelers on the team, but he's been concentrating a lot just lately on converting a lot of our terrain textures to PBR, and you get some lovely effects, especially when the sunlight and that drops down, and you can see the shadowing and the reflections and stuff like that on it. It looks great.
Yeah, so on the issue of the frames per second, as I mentioned, I am running this inside of the editor, and I'll show you in a minute that it really is running inside the editor, the CryEngine editor, and it's also running inside of debug mode in the editor. So that's one of the reasons the frames is lower right now. It's just because it's running in, this is actually the real editor, and I'll show you in a second, that we actually use to design the level with. Sorry, Graham, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was finished.
Okay.
Oh, I was saying too that one of the things that the whole PBR converter stuff, I know that we've been kind of filling you guys in on what's all been happening with that, and it's definitely had we've definitely had some unique I don't want to say issues, but challenges that have come up with it. Graham was talking about too. Matt's really done a kick-ass job with a lot of these terrain textures, and that's kind of been that's been one of the big items too that we've been trying to fix to make it look really, visually nice, and stunning is really what I guess we're trying to go for. So, yeah, it's been an interesting challenge with all this.
Yeah, I'm just changing the time of day here a little bit just so they can kind of see. We've shown the full 24-hour cycle in some of the videos, but this has all been completely updated again with a new time of day and new textures and everything. So again, just kind of showing what some of the different, just give a couple ideas of what it looks like. Yeah, you can see all the little details in the sand. So we've been putting a lot of effort into how the game looks. We want to make it look as good as possible. And as you can tell, even the textures, the sand textures and everything, we're trying to do as good as we can. Essentially is what it comes down to there. So what I'm going to do... Go ahead, Graham.
Sorry, I don't know if anyone's noticed there, but we've actually added the clouds into the sky, and a whole new cloud sky scene there. I don't know if, did
Yeah, it's still kind of a
Brian mentioned that.
placeholder. You can kind of see a couple of artifacts there, but... And we do have a full dynamic weather system in the game. And so, you know, it supports rain and day and night cycles and, you know, all of that type of stuff as well. In fact, let me change this back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to really cycle through the whole time of day.
No, there isn't. So I'm just going to run down the beach here for a second. Let me turn off the head bob. I apologize. Just so it's... If somebody likes head bob, I apologize, but I'm turning it off just so the stream's steady as I'm walking. There we go. And let me make sure motion blur is off. Okay, so motion blur is off. Okay. I just want to make it as steady as possible so you guys can see it as we're going. So what I'm going to do is walk down the beach, and then there's some houses that we've released pictures of, and I'll show you some of those houses as well with the interior. There's been a couple people that have mentioned that they didn't believe this was running in real time, and so we just want to kind of show you that it really is running in real time.
By the way, that was an awesome compliment to our team.
And like I said, in a minute I'll show you this is actually running inside of the editor as well, and so the frames per second are a little bit low because it is inside of the editor. Again, just the beach, you know, the wet sand textures, you know, look down my feet. So, you know, we care a lot about the way the game looks, and so we're putting a lot of effort into that just in general. Somewhere there's a path up here. There it is. That's where I'm heading. And again, the vegetation, you can see how dense the vegetation is, all the grass. And somebody mentioned before, if you look as the character is moving, you can see the vegetation move underneath his feet. Almost all the grass and the vegetation in the game is done that way. So it's touch bending is what it's called. So as the players move through the world, trying to find some tall, there we go. I'm backing up so you can see it. You can actually see all the vegetation move. There you go. That was kind of a good image of it. So a lot of the little details like that as well that we're putting into it. So if you're playing the game and you see vegetation moving, you know there's something in the middle. Whether it's, you know, a player that's moving around the vegetation or an animal or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Crawling through during games, scare the hell out of somebody.
Somebody was asking about the light pole, the little street poles earlier. I mentioned they've all been replaced. There you see. Doesn't have the little cheap looking one anymore. So I want to show you some of these houses. We've released images of some of these houses as part of our weekly updates. So I just want to kind of show you what, you know, they do look like inside as you go in and look around them. A lot of the detail we're adding to them. There's Carl's next gen drapes that move. Little subtle movements there.
We've spent a lot of time as well to try and make sure that all these houses are actually like non-repetitive, so you get a better experience. It's not like looking around the same house again and again sort of thing. I spent a lot of time to try and make a lot of variations of just one house. So
right.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good point too, because you know I think one of the things that we're focusing on as we're going through. Building a lot of the prefabs and building a lot of the houses out is that wanted definitely to be, I guess, visually rich, if you will. So that way, you know, you guys, you know, when you're playing it too, that there's a lot to see, and you know, each town you go to, each area, is unique enough that it's it's fun and it's interesting.
Right. So I'm showing another house. This is essentially the same design, but it's been drastically altered, so it looks really different from the last one we were in. This is the one that has all the vegetation on the outside of it. And open the door here. Has a lot of just grass, kind of the overgrown look on the interior as well. So they all look different. We have different interior designs even for the same house. You'll see different combinations of furniture and weeds and everything inside of them as well. And on the outside, all the ivy changes. We have a few different patterns even for the ivy on the house. So that house is the same as this house over here if you look. It's just kind of a different style for those.
That's a nice detail that you see with inside the game as well, and like a lot of reflections on this glass and stuff like that. That's a very good thing about the PBR now. Is you do get a lot more detail than you see in a lot of other games.
Yeah. Let me show you. See if I can show you these here. Let me back up through these. Those all move as well. It's kind of hard to see. It's because of the. And the player's texture, he isn't fully converted to PBR yet. And so that's why the player, when you see him, some of his textures look bright, because we're still working on the full conversion for him. So he isn't quite updated. And these walls are a placeholder, so ignore those. these rock walls.
Those are amazing rock walls.
I don't know if you noticed, there's a subtle difference as you go up the inclines here as well on the speed. If you're going up an incline, you slightly slow down. Okay, whoever is a mod in chat, start banning all those links, please. This is another house as well here that is under construction. The inside of this one isn't quite done yet, just to give you another idea. Some of these I don't think we've revealed yet on some of our updates. But just kind of give you an idea.
I guess it's even with that house too. That's like that's even a good point too to kind of show you guys just some of the artistry that we put behind making a lot of these assets. You can kind of see where a lot of them start from, and then all the different little subtle details that we do to really make it look good.
Right.
Yeah, that house is very early stages. It's nowhere near finished yet, but it's getting there.
We do support jumping, obviously. Just jumped over the fence. All the basic stuff you'd expect. Again, all the grass, this little cattle shed and barn was just finished recently as well. I'm not sure if we released images of that. There's quite a few new assets. I'm just going down here to this other house with the campground in it. There's a lot of foreign language in the chat, so I apologize. I don't speak French or some of the other languages as well. So I'm not sure what people are asking if you're asking questions. But
there was one question about the mutant. Do we want to talk about the spiker model?
Yeah, what I'll do is maybe I'll show that as part of the animation in a minute.
Yeah.
When I'm in the character editor. Here's some tall weeds. Wish we had some that were a lot more dense, but I mean, you kind of see them moving there again. Anyway.
I've seen a couple questions too about animals.
Fence jump confirmed. There you go. Yeah, animals. We have one of the things that, as I mentioned earlier, is holding us up are just all the animations. Right now, our priority is getting the main player animations in. We have, if you've been following the game, we released images, probably a year ago of some pigs and other animals in the game. And we still have all those models. We just don't have them animated with the new system yet. And I'm seeing the stream buffer. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not dropping any frames according to OBS, but it is buffering on my side. So I'm just going to go on and continue and assume it's fine then. Hopefully you guys aren't seeing buffering because I'm not dropping frames right now. So this is just a little campground we threw in, just a little survivor style camp with some of the assets in it as well. Just kind of showing you a diversity, some of the level design, the environment as well. So you can kind of see what it looks like. So let me give you an example of PBR. If you look at the roof of that house, you can see how it's really nice and shiny up there. That means that roof hasn't been converted to PBR. That's an example of why we need to go through and redo all the textures and materials since we moved to CryEngine 3.6. If not, when we started, the whole world essentially looked like that. It was all shiny.
Yeah, I don't think to interject, I don't think a lot of people really understood when Crytek made the jump to PBR, how dramatically different it made things.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that some things didn't even look real anymore.
This is another house I'm going in. This is we call it House D. We released, this house was actually part of the video for our Steam Early Access video. So you can see that, this is all real time. Hey, a missing texture. Thought I fixed that. This is what it looks like when you miss a texture in the game. Anyway, so, this is one that was in the video, obviously. Like I said, I'm just kind of giving everybody an overview of where we're at right now and what things look like. Yeah, on the textures, we're still not all the way done converting textures. There's still quite a few that aren't fully PBR compliant. There's other ones we still want to update as well. Obviously, consider this a work in progress. There's still a lot of work we're doing, but hopefully you guys can at least get an impression of of the amount of detail. Like look at the little road there, all the little details in the road, for example. Of the quality we're trying to put into this game. Anyway, so this is kind of the whole coastal area that we've been working on. I think this got started on a week and a half ago, something like that, roughly. This little area. So what I want to do is kind of show some of the animations now. Footprints on the ground. I see the question. I'm just glancing over every now and then, so I apologize. There will be footprints on the ground. We just don't have them hooked up. So yes, they will be there. Unfortunately, right now in fact, in the earlier videos, you could see them, and right now they're currently removed. But they will be making a comeback. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is kind of jump out of game mode, so you can actually see that this really is inside the editor. And I want to show you a couple of the animations inside the animation editor. So, as you can see now, this is really inside the editor. So that's why the frames per second were a little bit lower.
There was a question, too, about cars in the game.
Yep, see here? Just want to show everybody this is really running inside the editor. So the vehicles in the game, the current status on those is Crytek didn't allow us access to some of the core systems that we needed in order to implement vehicles with the repair system that we wanted. And they recently opened up the source code for the full vehicle system. And so now we're going to go back and actually, fix the link. I mean, fix the vehicles the way we want so you can have them fully repaired, which is what we wanted from the start instead of finding a fully repaired vehicle. Okay, so what I want to do now is just kind of give everybody just kind of an example of some of the animations we're working on. And as I mentioned, this is running inside the editor, and so I can actually sheet and show you the character editor. And I just want to kind of go through and show you a couple of these animations. So we took two approaches. We were working on trying to do mocap animations, and then we were also working on doing hand-drawn animations. Hand-drawn animations can be very tedious and time-consuming, and so we were exploring a few different options for mocap, kind of in parallel essentially. And the ones I'm going to show you today, I think, are all mocap animations. And I just want to kind of go through and give you an example of what some of those look like. So even on the animations, we're pretty picky on the animations, on trying to make them look as good as we can. So I'm just going to zoom around here and show you some of these.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's worth pointing out too that there are a lot of animations, that go into making kind of the full fluid body movements.
Yeah. For example, in the CryEngine SDK, there's over 1,000 animations that they use. However, a lot of those obviously aren't applicable to our game. But just to get the core animations in you need for movement in the game, there's about 70 animations that you need for starting, stopping, strafing left, right, forward, back, moving up hills, down hills, and then you need those for different speeds, walk, run, sprint. And then when you get into the crouch, you're basically doing the same thing again for crouch. And so you end up with a lot of animations really fast. So today, this is a mocap. And he looks kind of funny just because it is an in-game mode now. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these really fast and show you guys. There's the left, there's the right. So these are mocapped animations. Here's some 180 turns. So hopefully you guys can see how fluid they're going to be when they're done. Yes, character editor is part of CryEngine. This is, as I mentioned, this is actually the editor I was running the game in. So this was the editor in debug mode. And that's why the frames per second were a little bit low. But as you can see, it still runs really well even inside the editor. And let me show you a couple more here.
Hey, Terry, do you want to touch on too kind of the way that the system works to kind of tie all the animations together?
Yeah, I can mention it in a minute. And I don't want to get too technical because I don't think a lot of people will be interested. But at the end, maybe I'll do that for the people who want to stay around, the people that are more technical or have more of an interest on that. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. So this is an animation that you need. So if you're going from sprint to a stop, let me move my mouse out of the way. And again, all these were mocapped. So that's a sprint to a stop. I'm just going to filtering through some of these. Here's walking forward slowly. Again, these were all mocap animations. Let me do the run versions of that same one. So here's more of a jog animation. Here's a sprint level animation. Here's a back pedal, walking backwards. I showed some of these earlier in the game when I was walking around backwards through the weeds and so on, but anyway, so I don't want to take too much time on the animation, just want to show you the progress because a lot of people knew that this is something that we were waiting on. The animations are obviously a huge part of the game, and this was one of the biggest things holding us up. So the main point of this is just showing everybody the progress we're making on the animations, and showing you that we did decide to go down the mocap route because they ended up being a lot smoother. So let me answer a couple of the questions I'm seeing in chat. How many players on a server? CryEngine maxes out at 64 on a server. And I think this map is 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers. So it's 64 kilometers squared. And I think 64 players on that, you'd still be running into people quite often. But let's see. Playable version rollout just as soon as we're ready. We have to get the animations finished. I mentioned earlier for the people that were here about the sounds, we need to get the sounds done as well. Weapons, we'll start off with a couple of the weapons. Again, it comes down to an animation issue. As soon as we have the animations done, we'll release weapons. We have quite a few weapons modeled. I think we have around a dozen weapons that have been modeled. Some of them have been done for months now. And it's just a matter of animations, once the animations are done. Ratio of AI to players, unknown at this point. We'll just have to just play and see what it supports. So that is one we have to kind of test. No release date, just as soon as it's ready. We're not going to wait for a lot of features and so on because this is early access. As soon as the animations are in and the sound's done and the core essentially is there, we'll release it on Steam as an early access. And then we'll keep adding features as fast as we can and other stuff to the game. Crafting weapons, yes, but not right at the start. Oh yeah, so this character's texture, as I mentioned, he hasn't been converted to PBR yet. And then also inside the character editor, it's lit kind of funny. And so you ignore the textures on him, the colors of the textures. Those are not even close to what they are. So I apologize. I mentioned that earlier, but some of the people might not have heard that. All right. You, Graham or Ryan, you want to add anything?
I think so. I think we probably covered most of everything that we've been kind of in the process of updating.
Okay. For the people that came late, I'll just jump back into game mode here, just in case they didn't see it and run around for a second. So animations in the game. Again, the grass moves and everything. Anyway, and those are mocapped. All right. It's kind of a short stream today. Oh, I wanted to show off the whole free look system really fast. So if I'm running forward, I can hold down the Alt and look around as I'm going forward. This is a feature that has really only been in ARMA style games to date. But once you've used it, it's really nice to be able to do this as well.
Did we also have the zoom on the free look as well? Was that on the third person?
I think that's the third person zoom. I would have to play with it and see. I'm not sure on that. But anyway, so you can look all the way around, just like ARMA's free look system. And you look up and look down, left and right as you're moving. Which is really nice to be aware of what's going on around you. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Let me see if there's any last minute questions here. If you have any last minute questions, post them in chat. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds here before I close this down.
Oh, I think somebody did mention too that you're an editor. Can you scrub through the time of day just to kind of show the?
Oh yeah, definitely I can do that.
Happens.
In fact, let me just go out here on the pier again really fast, just so you can have the water. It's the advantage of running in the editor. We can do all kinds of fun stuff. So this is 6 o'clock in the morning that you can see right now. And I'm manually moving the slider. That's 7, 8. Let me look up the sky, because one thing that's interesting, if you can see it, you actually get the God rays coming through the clouds as well. And again, that sky texture isn't final. There's a couple of artifacts with it. So there's a good example of all the rays and everything you can see there. Anyway, so that's the time of day. It goes to sit. Okay, let's see. Jumping is just a normal jump, just like you would expect.
Did you answer about the weapons animations? I can't remember if we did or not.
I'm not sure. What was the question?
Some people are asking weapons animations that I don't think we are working on them. I don't think we have anything we can show right now, though.
Yeah, we need to. So what's happening with the animations, and this is what was the holdup was, we have to get all those base movement animations in. Like we mentioned, there's probably 60 to 70 of those that you have to have for all the different directional movements and incline movements and starting and stopping and everything. And so once you have those, then you use those as the base and start kind of building upon there to add all the weapon hold animations. And so as soon as we can, we're going to start on all those weapon animations. So they'll come online really fast once these base animations are finished. So that's kind of where we're at on the animations. Let's see. I'm kind of browsing through chat here again.
There's one about the building bases anywhere.
Right now, the way the base building works is you craft a plot sign, and right now you can put the plot sign pretty much anywhere, except you can't put it too close to another player's plot sign. And once you have your plot sign, then you can build within 30 meters of that plot sign. So you kind of picture, it's kind of a way of setting up your camp essentially and building from there. But right now, yes, you can do it anywhere you want. Well, we might limit that and not allow that in the towns, for example. But for example, right on the beach right here, I could put down my plot sign and build my fort right here on the beach if I felt like it. Let it rain. I don't have the weather system set up to where I can actually control it through commands. So unfortunately, I can't make it rain. Sorry. There are videos, though, of the rain effects. You can find those on the YouTube channel. Yes, right now you can drop plot signs inside of houses. So you could put one inside of a house right now and build walls all the way around the house if you really wanted to.
I think there was. I've noticed a few of these kind of questions too about raiding camps and raiding other things. There's technically no rules in the game, right? Like you can take somebody out, you can take their stuff. I don't think there's any limitations on it.
Right. Somebody's asked about walking in the water. Yeah, obviously you can. You can see the little ripples. There you go.
There's your new screensaver.
The swimming isn't quite finalized, but that gives you a good idea. So you can swim underneath water and everything. Okay, well, I'm going to close down the stream. I appreciate everybody that came and watched. We'll continue doing our updates and letting everybody know on our progress. Just keep an eye on the Twitch, the Twitch channel and the Twitter and our forums as well. And we'll get this done as quickly as possible. We want to play it as much as everybody else. So thank you for your time, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks very much.